Hi guys, I'm Anissa and I'm back with another video. Today I want to share with you the books that I've read since my last wrap up. I have since my last video read 7 more books, so I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. But yeah, the first thing that I finished since last time was You Are Not Alone by Greer, Hendricks and Pekkanen. This is a thriller mystery thing that I read for the Literally Dead book club, which is hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. This book follows a girl who is she had a hard time finding friends and finding a place where she mattered. And one day when she's at the train station waiting for a train to come, someone jumps in front of the train right in front of her, and it causes her to go into some sort of a distress. But then she, in relation to this suicide, she meets these 2 people who are sisters, who sort of takes her in, with her thinking that she's finally found her group of people that she can relate to and stuff, and things start changing. And it turns out that they are not as innocent as she first thought, and there's a reason why they seek her out. I didn't really like this one. I didn't hate it, but I thought it was pretty predictable, and I think one of the reasons why it was really predictable was that we saw the perspectives from multiple perspectives, both our main character, we also saw it from those 2 sisters and then another one, so we always knew what they were planning on doing. So all of the things that were supposed to be shocking wasn't really shocking at all, because you knew it was going to be happening. And I think that really, this book would have worked better if it was from only one perspective, so you didn't know what was going to be happening, for sure. But I did think it was decent. It was fine. It was not the worst thing ever, so I give it 3 out of 5 stars. The next thing that I finished was Sorcery of Thorns. This is a standalone book. I read this for the BookTube SFF Awards. It's nominated in the YA category. Now, Sorcery of Thorns is a book about this girl who is able to, for some reason, sense things around her that other people can't. And all her life she just wanted to become a warden, and she is trying to be accepted into warden training. And one day something happens and she is blamed for it, because they find her near the thing that happened, and she's the only thing that they could put the blame on. So she's going to be trialed for whatever it is, and they will deem her fate. And on her way she is escorted by this guy called Nathaniel and a demon, and they start up, for some reason they have known each other in the past, but they sort of hated each other, so it's been a sort of hate to lovers thing. And our main character and Nathaniel is sort of building a friendship type of bond on the way to the trial, and they find out things, and she is suddenly a target of some sort, and everyone wants to stop her and kill her and stuff. And yeah, I really ended up enjoying it. I think that it was a well-told story. I enjoyed the relationship between Nathaniel and the demon friend thing. That was like his, I guess, demon slave. He was like under his possession or something like that. But I also enjoyed the sort of connection that our main character got to the demon. It was quite a fun thing. And then there was a lot of talk about this great libraries, and she was spending a lot of time there, and I thought that was really cool. And overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was well written. I remember, I've read Enchantment of Ravens by her, and I feel like they're sort of on the same level, so I end up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely pretty much enjoyed it. The next thing that I finished was Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is the also a standalone, and this is also a book that I read for the BookTube SFF Awards. This one was nominated in the adult fantasy category, and this one is a book about Mexican Mayan mythology, and we follow this girl called Cassiopeia or Cassiopeia. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but she is ever since her father sort of passed away, they had to live with their grandfather and other parts of the family that of her mother's family, and they didn't really accept her as she was. And she one day when she's in her grandfather's bedroom cleaning, she discovers this wooden box, and it turns out that when she opens it, it releases this death god called Hunkame, who is the death god of the underworld in this world of Xibalba. He was put there by his twin brother Wukubkame, who had plans to be the ruler of Xibalba, and her grandfather was the protector of this box to make sure that it wouldn't be let out, that Hunkame wouldn't be left out again, so that he could come back into power. But Hunkame takes her on to a quest to regain his power, and like a lot of things has been taken from him, and he has to restore his power and all of that. And it takes her on her journey, and it's really interesting, and I really ended up enjoying it. And I think that the world of Xibalba, like the talk about the descriptions of the underworld and all of that, it was really interesting, and I really enjoyed the sort of bond that formed between Cassiopeia and Hunkame over the book. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I thought the writing was excellent, and the mythology was really interesting, and I'm really happy I got to explore this. It was definitely very new for me, and I'm so looking forward to reading more by Sylvia Moreno Garcia in the future, because she has such a writing style that I really connect with. And so I'm really hoping to find more of her books and enjoy them as much as I did with this one. This one was a 5-star for me, so I'm really happy about it, but I don't think it's for everyone. So yeah, but if you think this sounds interesting, I think you should definitely try and consider picking it up. The next book that I finished was Decaffeinated Corpse by Cleo Coyle. This is the 5th book, I think, of the Coffeehouse mystery series. This is a cozy mystery series that follows this girl who's a part owner of this coffee shop, is divorced from an ex-husband, and she has a daughter who was like 18 or something, 19. And yeah, she divorced her husband because he was cheating on her, and every single book they're trying to, I don't know, make something happen between the two without wanting to make something happen between the two. I don't know, it creates a lot of noise that I don't really like. Our main character wants to form a relationship with this police guy, but in every book there's something happening with her ex-husband, and she keeps being jealous of whoever her ex-husband is with. So I just find it super annoying. I find our main character extremely dumb, and she does a lot of stupid things in regards to the mystery elements as well. I really don't like the ex-mother-in-law. She's really pushy about her going back with her son, which in one way I can relate to because she really likes her and she wants her son to have the best ever, whatever, but he didn't really deserve her or whatever. And then her ex-husband is just super annoying as well, and super secretive, and keeps things from her all the time. That is very needed in some of these investigations, for sure. I just found this book to be super frustrating because of all of the different characters. They just grated on my nerves, and the way our main character was towards her daughter, it's just annoyed me. I hope that the next book will be better, because if it isn't, then I'm going to DNF this series. I don't want to keep on reading, so I hope that the next one will improve quite a bit. But I don't have my hopes up for this. I ended up giving this book 2.5 stars, maybe a 2 stars, because I did like some of the mystery elements, but the characters just frustrated me a lot, so I don't think it deserves much more than that. So yeah, 2 stars for that. Then another thing that I finished was Romanov by Nadine. Romanov is a retelling of the Romanov family. Obviously, it's sort of in the title. The Romanov family and their fate has always been something that has been a little bit fascinated to me in a way. I'm careful not to say I enjoy stories, because that would be a bad thing to say when it's such a tragedy and a bloodbath, but I find stories that surrounds this whole event surrounding the Russian Revolution fascinating. That's sort of what I want to say. So in this world, the Romanov family is able to wield some magic, and someone has let it slip that they have the ability to use magic, and for that people have started being scared of them. They've started not trusting the royal family, and so Nikolai, who is the Tsar at last Tsar, abdicates the throne to try and amend things a little bit, but still people are very built on mistrust, and there's a rebellion happening towards the Romanov family and the institution, and one day they are ordered to be moved to Ekaterinburg to go to the final fate, and they don't know obviously about this fate, but yeah, they know something is amiss, I guess, but they decide to go because they don't have other options. Our main character Anastasia, whose perspective we're following, manages to bring along this artifact that is able to hide some secret magic that she might be able to use to defend themselves, and it was very important that she brought this along with her. And someone knows that they have this in possession, and so they want to obviously find it and use it for their own thing. Obviously it goes gruesome, but it is sort of the romanticized version where Anastasia doesn't die, and it moves into another plot of them trying to stop the evil. I overall really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoy the Romanov stories quite often, but sometimes they fall flat, and I sometimes don't get the connection that I wanted, but I felt like this one was really pretty good, and it's a sort of YA also that I enjoy. I think it worked really well for me, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was not the best thing I've ever read, but it was definitely entertaining, and I liked how the magical elements were built into the story, and it gave it definitely an interesting twist. The next thing that I finished was Aitikaf and the Ghost of a Mouse by Riddell. This is the first book in the series about Aitikaf. I think it's actually just called Goth Girl and the Ghost of a Mouse in English. Aitikaf lives in this big mansion that is quite creepy and has a lot of different creatures, and her father is Lord Goth, I think, she lives in this big mansion, but she doesn't really have a lot of friends, and it isn't until one day in her bedchamber this mouse comes in, and in the spirit of a mouse, because there's some reason he can't escape the earth, so she decides to help find out what happened to him and how he ended up in this position, and it leads her on to find some friends and becomes part of this secret group on the mansion, and she yeah, probably discovers more than she ought to and more than she wanted to, but it turned into quite an adventure. I thought this was pretty good. These are quite fun. They are easy to read, obviously, because it's children's books. The text is really large, but they are also they have a creepy vibe to them, but they are are fun and adventurous, and it very much shows like the spirit of a girl at this age, and it just makes it a lot more fun, that is filled with fun illustrations throughout the book. It would either be something like this, where there's like one picture on it and a lot of text, or there would be one on each side, or there would be footnotes, or there would be a whole illustrated page like this, or like this, where the 2-page full of stuff. And it's just a fun story, and I like the illustrations alongside the story. And so I read 2 more books by Chris Riddell in the same sort of style and vibe, and I have enjoyed them all. I find them to be sort of on the same level, but I think maybe I prefer this one over the other Ottoline books. So I end up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. The last and final thing that I finished over the past... yeah, I just finished it yesterday. No, the day before. I finished this on Friday and I really enjoyed it, and that was Frostbite by Richelle Mead. This is the 2nd book in the Vampire Academy series, and I'd forgotten a lot of things that happened in this one. The Vampire Academy series follows Rose Hathaway as she is training to become a guardian at the Vampire Academy. In this world we have 2 types of vampires, the Strigoi and the Moroi. The Strigoi is the evil type, the one we know from the horror stories. They are they kill, they are horrible, they are really strong, they are the biggest danger to this world, both humans but also obviously the Moroi vampires. And the Moroi vampires are the good ones. They don't kill people. If they kill someone, they would turn Strigoi. So all of the Moroi are the sort of good, but they also are able to do some magical ability, and all of the abilities that they can use is related to the different elements. So earth, wind, fire, ice are the most common one, but then there's also the spirit one, which has sort of, so few have it that people have forgotten that it existed. So when people don't really get one of the other 4, they just think that they are they don't have an affinity yet, or they haven't found their affinity yet, but usually that will happen around the age of 14, 15, 16-ish. But our main character, Rose, wants to become a guardian for her best friend Lissa, who is a Moroi, who's the last of the royal family she's part of, the Dragomir family, and she wants to do everything she can to become her guardian. Something happened prior to the series start that you found out in the beginning of the 1st book, that Rose and all of the Lissa and all of her family was in a fatal car accident, or an accident that left everyone else dead, as well as Rose. But Lissa was able to use her spirit magic to bring Rose back from the dead, and that is what she can do with her spirit magic, but no one knows about it. So what happens is that since Rose rewoke after that incident, she's been able to be hearing Lissa's thoughts. Yeah, so in this book they're all going to this ski lodge because something happens. There's a threat towards some of the Moroi. Some Strigoi had seemed to kill off all of the people in one family, and they seem to try to cross off one family at the time. Things happen. I can't really say a lot about this one, except that in this one we are introduced to Adrian, who is also turns out to be a spirit user, and he's going to be a really important part in Lissa trying to discover more about herself, and they help each other finding out their abilities and what they are able to do, because no one else is able to help them. The thing that happens is with a lot of spirit users, they have a difficult time staying sane because of all of the things that happens when they use the magic. It will drain them in a way that other people's don't. So a lot of them seems to be going crazy, and so they're trying to make sure that doesn't happen to Lissa, obviously. I definitely really enjoyed this one. Rose, like, One of the things I noticed from the first book to this one is the writing. The writing has improved so much since the first book. The first book seemed a little bit clunky in the writing style in the beginning, and Rose's language just seemed so out of it. And it wasn't this sort of language that I remembered her using all the time. And I think that in this one it just changed, and it seemed like it was definitely more towards the Rose that I know from and remember from the Vampire Academy series, as well as the writing itself was done a lot better. There was also a lot of new interesting information about, obviously, Lisa and Rose's bond that you were found out in this one, because of some things that Adrian was able to do, without saying too much. But the ending of this book, I completely forgotten the plot of this book, but one of the things that I definitely remembered is one of the things that happened, and I can't really say what it is, obviously, because that would be spoilery, but it definitely got to me, and I ended up crying, and I didn't expect to do that because I don't remember crying when I read this the first time. So I probably did, but I don't remember. And yeah, there was just a specific scene that really got to me, because of the way that Rose reacted to it. It seemed really realistic and understandable considering the situation she was in. So yeah, I ended up giving this book 5 stars again. It was just so much fun being back with Rose and the gang, and it's interesting how much it improved from the first book, for sure. So those were all of the things that I have finished over the past few weeks. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books and what you thought of them, if you did read them. Let me know what you've been reading recently. Do you have any recommendations to me? I would also always like to know that. And yeah, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye!